Kindly inform your group members to join as soon as possible. I'm going to start. Our
Please start.
have already joined.
Please start, sir. Please start.
Sure. Very good evening, participants. Today we have another speaker from the galaxy of HRDC AMU Aligarh, Dr. Sajid Jamal Sahab. Presently, he is professor in Department of Education, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Prior to joining AMU, Aligarh, he served as one central university and one state university. Therefore, now he has the experience of two different type of university, central university as well as state university. And now he is serving in the central university, that is Aligarh Muslim University. सर का जो एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है वो साइंस एजुकेशन है, पेडागोजी ऑफ साइंस, assessment and evaluation and teacher education. As far as his research work is concerned, I will say that he has published 7 books and have contributed 10 chapters in an edited books. He have published 30 research papers in various journals and have published 5 psychological scales and presented more than 75 papers at various national international conferences and seminars. About 25 years of teaching experience of teaching UG, PG and research as well as diploma and DLED students. He has also guided more than 14 research scholars to write their doctoral thesis on different educational field. In my opinion, sir is a kind of teacher that he brought the material and spiritual advancement not only in Aligarh Muslim University but in India while he was serving in different universities, that is State University and Central University. He has the experience of traveling length and breadth of our country. I will say from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh. And he had traveled a lot, participants. Apart from these, he chaired many sessions in national and international seminars, conferences, and organized more than 50 teachers training programs. And he has been invited by various universities and colleges to contribute his knowledge, experience as far as his teaching and training experience is concerned on different platforms. Even he has also contributed on e-resources, and you can easily access on YouTube his various lectures on the different topics. Besides his academic duties, he has discharged various departmental responsibilities, that is administrative duties, that he was the assistant superintendent of exam, member of curriculum revision committee of CBCS for 2 years, B.Ed, MA, MEd and DT programs. He has been associated with the inspection of NCT, that we know that National Council for Teacher Education and NIOS, and have substantial collaboration with various institutions such as National Council for Education, Research and Training, that is NCRT, SCRTs, diets of different states, National Institute of Open Schooling, popularly known as NIOS, CBSE Board, University Grant Commission, Central Institute of Indian Languages, CIIL, Mysuru, Maulana Azad National University, Manu, Hyderabad, Central University of Kerala, Punjab University, Chandigarh, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi, BHU, that is Banaras University, Varanasi, IGNU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, and MP Bhoj University, Bhopal, Patna University, Patna, Ranchi University, Ranchi. There the list is endless where he has contributed in the form of resource person, in the form of examiner, in the form of a keynote speaker. So participant, he has also discharged various administrative responsibilities and successfully, as he was the controller of examination of Maulana Azad National University, Hyderabad, and a principal of 2 College of Teacher Education, one at CT Asansol, West Bengal, and another is CT Bhopal at Madhya Pradesh. Most important and unique characteristic of Professor Sajid Jamal Sahib is concerned, he is As much as I know, in my personal opinion, Sajid Jamal Saab is that a very cooperative person and faculty member of our department, from where I am also belong, and not only for his seniors, but for also juniors, and always encourage them to come over and come up for academic excellence as well as their research activities. Participants, these are the brief introduction of today's our learned speaker, Professor Sajid Jamal Saab. And if you really wish, as usual, inform you that if you really wish to know much more in detail about Professor Sajid Jamal Saab, you can visit on the website of our department, that is Department of Education, AMU Aligarh, and you will find the detailed CV and a long experience of 24 years of academic as well as administrative experience of our today's speaker, Professor Sajid Jamal Saab. Sir, without any delay, I would like to invite to speak on today's topic, which has been assigned to you, that is Indian knowledge system. Sir, now the mic over to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Dr. Aftab. Thank you very much for such a generous introduction. I think it was a very long and lengthy introduction. So I'm highly grateful to you for your kind words. So I'm just a teacher and I have got the opportunity to address my fellow brethren and sisters. So definitely I would like to share my experiences with them.
So this group is about 20 group, but they are very much interactive, very sincere participants, sure. And the diversity is there, sir, from different states they belong to. Sure. Thank you, sir.
So definitely I would like to request them to be interactive with me, because I'll be presenting and meanwhile I'll be asking some question or I'll be instructing them to do something. So I would like to request to them to become responsive and interactive. So as the topic Dr. Aftab mentioned, an overview of Indian knowledge system. So all of you, and of course including me, we all know about Indian knowledge system. So first I would like to start with this question. What do you know? What do you mean by this Indian knowledge system? My friends, please respond. So I can see Dr. Sunita Chaudhary, I can see Dr. Azahar Islam, so many people. So my friends, please respond.
जी सर,
अनम्यूट करके बोलें सर, अनम्यूट करके, कई लोग भूल जाते हैं.
जी सर.
So my question is, what is Indian knowledge system?
Suparna ma'am.
Okay. So, Sunita ma'am, Sunita Chaudhary ma'am. Okay, Dr. Sunita Chaudhary.
Yes, sir, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. सुनीता मैम बोल रहे हैं, सुनीता मैम बोल रही है.
जी सर.
हाँ, बोलिए.
हाँ जी.
So Azahar sir, my question was, what is Indian knowledge system?
Actually, जो इंडियन परंपरा है, एंशिएंट टाइम टू मॉडर्न, उन्हीं के आधार पर हम लोग जो काम करते हैं कि एजुकेशन सिस्टम के ऊपर, कोई दूसरा कोई सेक्टर के ऊपर, तो उसी को बोलते हैं कि इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम. इसके ऊपर में हम एक आर्टिकल लिखे थे कि इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम एंड इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम ऑन मुस्लिम कल्चर ऑफ बीरभूम डिस्ट्रिक्ट. हम जहाँ का है तो वो है बीरभूम डिस्ट्रिक्ट नाम है, तो हम ऐसे एक आर्टिकल लिखे थे. तो मेरे जो राय है कि इंडियन जो कल्चर है, जो एंशिएंट कल्चर है, उसी के ऊपर हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि ये इसका डेफिनेशन.
Dr. Azahar, what do you teach, sir?
Sir?
What do you teach? Which subject do you teach?
Sir, history. My subject is history.
History, okay, yes. Thank you. Dr. Sunita, do you want to say something? Dr. Sunita?
सुनीता मैम कुछ बोलना चाह रही थी.
हाँ. Any other participant?
हाँ, Suparna ma'am.
Sir, if we talk about the present Indian knowledge system, I think it is based on classroom system, where which is itself based on lecture system to impart knowledge to students, if we talk about the present scenario?
Okay, Suparna ma'am, what do you teach?
I also teach history, sir.
Where ma'am?
Chandigarh.
Chandigarh. Okay, okay. So let me share my screen first, and then I'm going to deliberate on those points. So I'm sharing my screen. So now can you see my screen, my friends?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the topic, as Dr. Aftab mentioned, an overview of Indian knowledge system, and definitely I have framed some objective for this session. So these objectives have been mentioned on the slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, please read the slide. My friends. Suparna ma'am?
Sir,
Yeah.
clearer.
Should we read it loudly? That is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you are saying.
Yeah, loudly, yeah.
Okay, the first one is be familiarized with the relevance, role, and importance of IKS. Second is acquainted with the contribution of IKS in the fields of philosophy, mathematics, public administration and governance, and science and technology. Third is efficient in integrating IKS in the present education system. Next is be sensitized towards various components of holistic health. And last one is feel pride in being a part of rich Indian culture and tradition.
Thank you, Dr. Suparna. So these are the 5 objectives with which I have started this session. Definitely, I want to familiarize you people. What's the relevance, role, and importance of IKS? Definitely, I want to acquaint you people with the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in 6 fields like philosophy, mathematics, science and technology, application of science and technology, public health, and public administration and governance, particularly in these 6 areas. I also want you people to become efficient in integrating IKS in the present education system, because this National Education Policy 2020 focuses a lot on IKS, and somehow this National Education Policy wants you people to be efficient in implementing all those things which have been mentioned in NEP 2020. So definitely, this will be one of the objectives, that you people become efficient so that you may integrate IKS in the present education system, whatever the subject you teach. Then finally, I want to sensitize you people towards various components of holistic health. And last but not the least, I'm quite sure the moment this lecture will be over, definitely you will feel pride in being a part of the rich Indian culture and traditions. So these are the objectives with which I am starting the session. Now, a little bit of focus I would like to present on national education policy, particularly those areas or those aspects of NEP 2020 which have some roots in Indian knowledge system. So I would like to start with the vision of NEP 2020. So definitely NEP 2020 has been much talked of, has been much discussed and on social media as well. And I think almost 4 years before it came to in the public domain, and you people all are very active on social media. So you know a lot about NEP 2020. How this NEP 2020 differs from the other educational policies, in my opinion, it is this clear vision of this NEP 2020, which has been shown on the slide. So again, I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide loudly. Any one of you, my friends?
So the vision of the policy is to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen.
Thank you. Who are you, ma'am?
Myself, sir, Brihivorna Talukdar from Assam.
What do you teach, ma'am?
Political science.
Political science. Okay. So as I mentioned, if you see the history of India, so a lot of documents are there in the history of education of India. So if we start with the modern history of education in India, so it starts with Macaulay's Minutes, which came in 1835. Then we had another important document that is known as Wood's Dispatch, which came in India in 1854. Then, there was another commission, which is known as Indian Education Commission or Hunter Commission, that came into 1882. Then we had another very important commission that is known as Sadler Education Commission, which came in 1917. Then, we had Wood Abbott report, and, in 1928-29, and then we have Sargent Plan in 1944. These are the documents pre-independence. If you talk about after independence documents, so we have Radhakrishnan Commission report on higher education. We have Mudaliar Commission report on secondary education. Definitely, we have a very comprehensive report on education that is known as Kothari Commission that came in 1964-66. We had first education policy in independent India in 1968. Then we had another very important education policy that came in 1986. And definitely there are so many documents. So how this NEP 2020 is different from all those? It is this vision of this policy. So very clearly, this policy, in fact, wants to instill among the learners, as ma'am has just read, a deep-rooted pride in being Indian. And that deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought, rather, but in spirit, intellect, deeds as well. To develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and living and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. So this is the clear vision of this National Education Policy 2020. Now, coming next, I want to highlight those points of National Education Policy 2020, which has some deep root in Indian knowledge system. So there might be so many, but in my opinion, these 8 points are very important of NEP 2020, which have some root in IKS. So any one of you, please read these 8 points.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each students, flexibility, no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities, multidisciplinary and holistic education, emphasizing conceptual understandings, developing ethical, human, and constitutional values, respect for diversity and the local context, seamless continuum of education from one level to other.
Right. So these are the points. Somehow, if you'll minutely look over it, you will find that they have root in our ancient knowledge system, that is Indian knowledge system. So recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. So what do you understand through this point, my friends? My friends, please respond.
So tapping into the individual and creative talents of each student.
Okay. Before that, I would like to ask another question. As a teacher, do you think that each and every student has some unique potential, has some unique talent? What's your opinion? My friend?
Yes, yes, sir.
Definitely. So, talent is God gifted, innate potentials are there in every child. Only thing is that we are unable to recognize. So, you can't foster the talent, you can't foster the unique capabilities unless and until you recognize. So, recognizing is the first thing. Recognizing and, of course, identifying. And the moment you will recognize, then you will be able to foster those capabilities. And since times immemorial, if you see the Indian education system, it is based on this. So, the ancient great teachers, they always, in fact, recognize the talent, identified the talent, and accordingly, they, somehow groomed the personalities and made human potential a very good human potential. So this was an old Indian tradition, and somehow this NEP 2020 talks about it. Coming to the second point, flexibility. So what do you understand by flexibility, my friends? My friends? My friends, please respond.
जी
What is this flexibility? What do you understand by flexibility?
sorry sir.
My question is, the slide says second point as flexibility. So what do you understand by this flexibility?
Sir,
Any?
I don't know how. Actually, I have no idea about IKS and flexibility.
Okay. Any other opinion?
सर
Hmm.
फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इन एनईपी मींस मतलब एक स्टूडेंट मतलब किसी भी स्ट्रीम का हो मतलब सारा सब्जेक्ट मतलब आर्ट्स का हो या साइंस का हो सब पढ़ सकता है एक साथ.
There are so many points like credit transfer, like multiple entry and multiple exit, giving them more and more choice in choosing the subjects. I mean, all these comes under the uh, idea of this flexibility. And if you see our Indian knowledge system, lot of flexibility existed at that time. So this point of flexibility, which is mentioned in NEP 2020, that is again derived from this, Indian knowledge system. Now coming to the third point, that's very important. No hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. So at this juncture of time, by and large, we have three streams, arts stream, science stream, and commerce stream. And then in further, in every stream, we have two types of subject, that is curricular subjects and extracurricular subjects are nowadays it is known as co-curricular subjects. And there is a hard separation. If you have opted for the arts stream, you can't go to the science stream. I mean, if you want to study any subject under science stream, it's very difficult for you to go. Or you have opted for science stream and further you want to study history, or further you want to study political science or some language, so it's very difficult. But this NEP talks that this hard separation between streams should be broken, and not only that, the hard separation between curricular and extracurricular activities should also be broken. And if you see our Indian knowledge system, so the great rishis, the great saints, the great teachers, in fact, those teachers who used to teach Vedas, they used to teach grammar as well. Those teachers who used to teach music, those teachers, they used to teach mathematics as well. I mean, in our Indian education system, such type of separation and such type of watertight compartmentalization of knowledge was not there. So knowledge was treated as a unified whole. So the same thing, I mean, the moment this national education policy talks about no hard separation between arts and science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. So this, in fact, already existed in our Indian knowledge system. Then multidisciplinary and holistic education. This is another idea that has been much talked in NEP 2020. And I think there would have been one session in your workshop on this multidisciplinary and holistic education. Isn't it, my friends? I think there was one session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yesterday we had that session.
Yeah, yesterday you had. So what is this holistic education, by the way, my friends?
It actually speaks about the all-round development of the students.
Very good, very good. And this was one of the important features of Indian knowledge system. We never treated the subjects in isolation. I mean, we treated the knowledge as a unified whole. There were multidisciplinary view on the knowledge, as well as we tried to ensure the all-round development of the students. Then comes emphasis on conceptual understanding. So what do you understand by this point, my friends? Emphasis on conceptual understanding. Any clarification from you people?
Clarity of concept.
Yeah, clarity of concept. That is simply cramming, simply remembering anything is not enough. Any knowledge that you give to your students, any knowledge that you impart to your students in the classroom, It is for the purpose that that knowledge they will utilize in their practical life. They can't utilize it, they can't apply the knowledge unless and until they will understand. So there is a need to put more emphasis on conceptual understanding. Again, this point has been derived from Indian knowledge system. Then developing ethical, human, and constitutional values, respecting diversity and local context. Again, that's very important. And finally, seamless continuum of education from one level to other. So what you have understood through this point, my friend? Seamless continuum from of education from one level to other. Can you explain? My friends, please respond.
Here actually, sir, from primary to
Yeah.
upper secondary
Yeah.
and education,
Yeah.
it should be smooth and continuous flow.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Who are you, sir?
Sir, myself, Abul Fazal Majumdar, sir.
Acha, Majumdar sir, what do you teach?
I teach botany, sir.
Where?
Botany in Manilok Science College in Assam, sir. Hailakandi, Assam.
Okay, Majumdar sir. Thank you. So now we have various levels of education: elementary level, secondary level, senior secondary level, undergraduate level, postgraduate level, research level. We have so many levels. So what we want, there should be some seamless continuum. I mean, those levels should not be isolated with each other. Particularly, if you talk about, let me give you one example of mathematics. So some theories, some important principles, some important concept of mathematics is taught at elementary level. But as you will move to secondary level, you will find a little bit more difficult, more tough concept. Then if you'll move to senior secondary, then you will find more abstract things. Similarly, if you'll move to graduate level, some other things are there. I mean, but there should be certain kind of continuity. So this NEP 2020, in fact, talks about seamless continuum of education from one level to another, and it was there in Indian knowledge system. So ancient system, 12 years of schooling, 12 years of education led to some degree that was known as graduation degree, then further 12 years of teaching another degree, then further 12 years of teaching another degree. So I mean, no watertight compartmentalization in level. So there were seamless continuum of education from one level to another, and this NEP 2020 talks about that also. Now, coming to the topic, IKS. So what is IKS? So since this group is a diverse group, so for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have defined all the three terms differently. So I would like to request any one of you to please read this. Any one of you, please read the slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide. Yeah.
Ji sir,
Please read the slide.
what is IKS? The Indian knowledge system, indigenous sources of knowledge generated by the Indian society. Such knowledge synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians.
Right.
Knowledge obtained by the insight gained by personal experiences with life situation facing problems and coming up with means of solving them. System, a structured methodology and the classification scheme to access the available purpose of knowledge, the interconnection between the part of the knowledge in the classification framework.
Thank you, my friend. So there are three terms in IKS, that is Indian. I have defined it separately, then knowledge, and then system. So Indian, indigenous sources of knowledge generated, number one, by the Indian society, synthesized, number two, codified, number three, and made available by Indians. And the moment I'm saying Indians, so not of today's India, the undivided India, the Akhand Bharat. So any such knowledge, any indigenous knowledge that was generated synthesized, codified, and made available by the Indians. Now, what is knowledge? Obtained by the insights gained by personal experiences with life situation, facing problems and coming up with means of solving them. So, ancient people, so they face some problems. So what they did, in fact, they somehow did something, and finally they overcome to that problem. They got the solution of that problem. So by that way, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, compiling all those experiences became knowledge. Then comes system, a structured methodology and classification scheme. So just now, I talked about knowledge. So knowledge is very vast, knowledge is very wide. So for the sake of clarity, so that knowledge was classified into various parts, and not only classified, rather there were some interconnection between various parts of knowledge. So this is known as system. So in a nutshell, this is Indian knowledge system. Now I would like to talk about contributions of Indian knowledge system. So there are so many contributions of Indian knowledge system, but there are 6 fields particularly in which you will find the contribution of Indian knowledge system is immense. So first one is philosophy, definitely. Number 2, mathematics. Number 3, science and technology. Number 4, applications of science and technology. Number 5, health. And number 6, governance and public administration. So I will prefer to start from philosophy. So first, we would like to see what's the contribution of Indian knowledge system in philosophy. So we have a Indian philosophical system. So what are the characteristics of this Indian philosophical systems? So some points have been mentioned on this slide. I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
Sir, Indian philosophical systems. There are 2 classes of philosophical systems: Vedic school of philosophy, Samkhya Yoga, Nyaya, Vaishaka, Mimamsa, and Vedanta, and non-Vedic school, Jainism, Buddhism, Karma philosophy. The Indian philosophical system provides a true worldview and vision for life and help us resolve the issue that we face in our life. The teaching of Upanishads suggests that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. Unlike the Western counterpart, the Indian philosophical thought is closely intertwined with the religious thought.
Yes, ma'am, continue. Okay. Any other participant? Please continue the last point. My friends?
So, voice are there, the network.
Okay. So the contribution of Indian knowledge system in philosophy. So you see, as ma'am just had read, we have 2 classes of philosophical systems: Vedic school of philosophy, which includes 6 orthodox philosophies: Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta, and 3 non-Vedic schools, that is Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. So there are some philosophy who believe in Vedas, so they are known as Vedic schools of philosophy, and these are 6. But contrary to it, there are some philosophies which don't believe in Vedas, so there are 3, that is Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvak philosophy. Now, many of you, I am quite sure, would have heard about idealism as a philosophy. So idealism, if you talk, whatever idealism talks, if you will go through minutely about Vedanta, you will find that so many things which idealism talks, that is there in Vedanta. But idealism has been propagated by Socrates and Plato, but Vedanta is quite old. Here I am taking the opinion of one of the greatest Indologists, Max Muller. So Max Muller says that Upanishad period is of 1500 BC. And definitely Vedanta is much older than that. But so you see the period of Aristotle and Socrates and Plato, I mean, all these people. So they are quite young in comparison to Vedanta philosophy. Their time is almost between 300 BC to 400 BC. But Vedanta is much older. Similarly, there is one philosophy, realism, which was started by Aristotle. So if you minutely see Jainism philosophies, it very much resembles with realism, but Jainism is quite older in comparison to realism. Similarly, there is another philosophy, humanism. So humanism came into existence in 1500 AD. So it very much resembles with Buddhism, but Buddhism is quite old. So we have very a good system of philosophy, 9 orthodox schools of philosophy, and these philosophies basically provide a true world view, not only a true world view, rather a vision for the life, and whatever the problem, whatever the issues we face in our daily life, somehow we are guided by those philosophies. Our whole culture, our whole traditions, so everything is based on those philosophies. If you come to the third point, teachings of Upanishad suggest that attainment of knowledge is the highest goal of human life. That's very important. Another significant difference, how Indian philosophical system is different from Western system. So Western philosophies have separated religion with the philosophy. But if you see Indian philosophical system, you will not find such type of separation. So somehow, I mean, our philosophy is closely intertwined with the religious. We haven't separated religion and philosophy. And finally, the ultimate goal of human life is closely spelled out, and the path for attaining the same is also articulated in all the darshanas. So this is one field where you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system, and that is the field of philosophy. Now I'm continuing the discussion, and I'm coming to the next area. This area is again such area in which there is immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. So since this is a diverse group, so for the sake of clarity in my presentation, the contribution of Indian knowledge system in mathematics, I'm trying to point out through 8 points which have been mentioned on this slide. So I would like to request anyone of you to please read the slide. Anyone of you, please read the slide. My friends, please read the slide.
The number system, measurement, geometry, arithmetic, trigonometry, algebra, binary system, and astronomy.
Yeah. Please read the matter which is there in every heading.
Concept of zero and decimal system, measurement for time, distance, and weight, geometry, property of right angle triangle, concept of circle and pi, arithmetic, square root, series and progression, trigonometry, Jia and Kojia, algebra, Aryabhatta wrote Ganitapada, binary system, Laghu and Guru, astronomy, concept of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar eclipse, Tithi, Nakshatra, and Panchang, the Indian calendar system.
Thank you. So see, these are the 8 areas in mathematics where you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. So first one, number system. So I don't say that only Indians had the knowledge of mathematics. Definitely, if you talk about other old civilizations like Mesopotamian civilization or Egyptian civilization or Chinese civilization or Greek and Roman civilization, so they, even Arabs, they had knowledge of mathematics. But how our knowledge of mathematics was unique, that we gave the concept of zero to the world as well as the decimal system. Similarly, we had so many units for measuring time, whether it is small time or big time, small distance or big distance, smaller weights or higher weights. We had the unit for measuring all those. Then our mathematician, they studied the property of right angle triangle. They studied the concept of circle. They discovered pi as well. So do you know what is pi, my friends? My friends? Okay, so pi pi is a ratio. It is around 22/7, or if you convert it into decimal, so it is 3.1414. So if you will divide the diameter, if you will divide the circumference of a circle by its diameter, you will get a fixed ratio, and that is 3.1414. That is pi. So our mathematicians studied all these. Similarly, in arithmetic, our mathematicians found out square root, they found out various series and progressions. And another contribution in mathematics particularly is in trigonometry. So in nowadays they use sine and cos in trigonometry. Our mathematician, they used ja and cotja. And why trigonometry was very important? Because in our knowledge system, astronomy was something very important. And if you talk about astronomy, so astronomy very much depends on trigonometry. I mean, in order to be a good astronomer, you have to have the knowledge of trigonometry. So since people were very good in astronomy, that's why they had enough knowledge of trigonometry as well. And then, there was one scientist, mathematician, Aryabhatta, who wrote Ganitpada. So in this Ganitpada, you will find so many corollaries, so many theorems, so many formulas related to algebra have been mentioned. And then we have binary system, Laghu and Guru, in the same way as we have today's binary system, 0 and 1. Similarly, we had Laghu and Guru. And our people had the concept of stars, planets, celestial bodies, solar and lunar eclipse, Tithi, Nakshatra, and Panchanga. So Panchanga, what is Panchanga, my friend? Have you heard?
Yes, sir.
What is Panchanga?
Sir, it means five. You say, organ, 5 organ.
Okay. Panchanga is yeah. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, continue, please.
Is it Hindu calendar?
Yeah. That's so it is if you see the normal calendar, so it talks, I mean, there's one calendar just before me, so it talks about days, it talks about dates, but in Panchanga some detail is there, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So many, I mean, Tithi, Nakshatra, so many things is mentioned in Panchanga. So Panchanga is more comprehensive in comparison to modern calendar. So these were, in a nutshell, the contribution of Indian knowledge system in mathematics. Now I'm coming to the third area, that is known as science and technology, in which again you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. So I'm presenting all those contributions in 8 points which have been mentioned on this particular slide. So any one of you, please read these points. Any one of you, my friends, please read the points.
So science and technology.
Yeah.
Mining and ore extraction, particularly gold extraction, production of zinc, technique of downward drift reduction, distillation process was used, which is now used as a modern process all over the world.
Yeah.
Metals and metals working, particular mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. Smelting of iron, the Delhi iron pillar, manufacture of steel, woods, steel, mercury mentioned in it, Karaka Samhita. It should be Charaka Samhita.
Charak Samhita,
yeah. Was used in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold. Lead and silver. Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions silver coins of definite weight lost was custody of idols and the interfacts.
Right. So you see, science and technology, you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. I will start with the mining and ore extraction, particularly gold extraction. So gold was very important in our culture, and at the moment I'm saying gold was important, it was not only for the women, rather for men as well. So the old kings and noble people, they used to wear gold. So somehow gold was very important in our culture, and our people had the knowledge of how to how to mine and how to do mining and ore extraction. Similarly, production of zinc was another very important contribution. So you see, there is one technique which is known as downward drift reduction distillation process. So this technique nowadays is used in the whole world as a modern process for production of zinc. So this technique was used by our people. Definitely at that time, machines would have been different, technology would have been different, but somehow this technology was used. That is downward drift reduction distillation process. Then metals and metalworking, particularly our people have mastery over iron, steel, zinc, copper, and their alloys. So what are alloys, my friends, by the way?
Sir, mixture of two or more metals.
Yeah, very good, ma'am. So nowadays they are talking particularly in the cars about alloy wheels. Have you heard about that? Alloy wheels, you have heard?
No, sir.
Oh, in cars, various companies, they are talking about alloy wheels. So what's the beauty of alloys? They mix steel with iron, they mix steel with zinc, they mix steel with nickel, they mix steel with copper. So that becomes very strong and lighter as well. I mean, lighter in weight but very strong. So yeah, this is alloy. So our people had mastery over that. And then a very good example we had Delhi iron pillar, thousands of years old, but still it is free from rusting. So this is a very clear example how good our people were there, in particularly metals and metalworking. Then manufacturing of steel. There's one steel which is known as Wood's steel. So in every steel, you will find carbon component. But in Wood's steel, carbon component is relatively higher. It is more in weight in comparison to other steel, and that makes it very strong. Particularly in weapon making, this Wood's steel is used. So if you will go through the pages of history, you will find that once upon a time, the capital of Syria, Damascus, they used to produce a blade which was known as Damascus blade. And this was very popular in whole of the Middle East and various parts of the globe. Damascus blades were used as a weapon. So these Damascus blades were based on the technology of Wood's steel that reached to them by India. So that is one of the most important contribution of Indian knowledge system, that we produced Wood's steel. Then mercury. So before proceeding further, I would like to know from you people how mercury is different. What is the peculiarity of mercury, my friends? Any idea from you people? My friends?
जी सर.
मरकरी की कुछ खास बात है? Mercury's peculiarity, Mercury's uniqueness, can you tell?
Sir, actually I have no idea, sir.
Okay, no problem. Any other person? Okay, I'm telling. So mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state. All the other metals, whether you talk about zinc, whether you talk about copper, whether you talk about iron, whether you talk about nickel or steel, they are in solid state. But mercury is in liquid state. This is the only metal which is found in liquid state. Another peculiarity, mercury is quite heavy. So almost 13.6 times heavier than the water. If you'll take 1 liter of water, its weight will be almost 910 grams. But if you'll take 1 liter of mercury, it will be more than 12 kg. That is quite heavier. So Charak was a great scientist. So Charak Samhita, in Charak Samhita, mercury has been mentioned. Mercury, which was known as para, this was mentioned. And why mercury was important? Because mercury was used in the amalgamation process for the extraction of silver and gold. Then Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions silver coins have definite weight. So our people had definitely the knowledge of lead and silver. And finally, lost wax casting of idols and artifacts. Now I'm coming to the next area. that is applications of science and technology. And this is the area again in which immense contribution of Indian knowledge system you will find. So I have summed all those things under 7 points. So any one of you, please read the points. My friends, please read the points. My friends, listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please read the points.
Sir, application of the science and technology, the architecture, Vastu Shastro, and the town planning, unitary buildings, residential buildings, and the royal places, irrigation and water management, dyes and the painting technology, the art of the making perfumes, surgical techniques, shipbuilding, 64 art forms, and the colors.
Colors. So these are the applications of science and technology which has been contributed by Indian knowledge system. Vastu Shastra, you know, what is Vastu? What's your opinion? My friends? My friends, do you know what is Vastu?
Participants, what I'm observing that you are not responding. Sir, I would request to kindly call by their name. If they are unable to respond, then I will remove them. I'm bound to remove them.
My question is, have you heard about Vastu? What is Vastu?
The building of a house in
Of course.
according
Where should be the drawing room? Where should be the kitchen? Where should be this particular bedroom? I mean, so that more and more ventilation might come, sunlight might come. I mean, all those things that comes under the category of Vastu Shastra. So our architecture, Indian architecture, was heavily relied on the, this Vastu Shastra. And if you talk about town planning, so there were certain type of buildings, for example, unitary buildings, residential buildings, and royal palaces. So whatever the building they made, they ensured, number one, that sunlight is coming enough, and as well as these buildings might be cooler in the summer as well as might be hotter in the winter. So more and more sunlight, more and more ventilation might come. This is one of the important contribution of Indian knowledge system in architecture. Then irrigation and water management. Of course, water is very important for us. There is no life without water, and water was precious to them as well. Old people, ancient people, So at that time, definitely they didn't have the submersible pumps and other technologies to extract water out from the ground. So whatever the rainwater they had, they tried to preserve it so that it might be used for various purposes. So certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. Definitely the technology would have been different, but certain kind of rainwater harvesting system was there. So irrigation and water management was there. Our people were very much well versed with dyes and painting technology. They knew the art of making perfumes. And then comes surgery. So have you heard the name of Sushruta? My friends, who was Sushruta? Sushruta, in fact, was a great surgeon. So he's known as father of surgery. And by observing the beaks of the birds, in fact, he invented so many surgical instruments. So, sparrow's beak is different from crow's beak. A crow's beak is different from falcon's beak. So Sushruta observed the beaks of those birds, and on the basis of those beaks, he designed some surgical instruments. So it is said that Sushruta not only performed surgery, rather he used to use anesthesia as well. But those anesthesia were not chemical based, rather some medicinal plants and herbs were used in anesthesia, and then finally the surgery was performed by Sushruta. So surgical techniques our people knew. They knew the shipbuilding. And finally, Van Bhatta talks about 64 art forms or 64 kalas. So all these come under the category of applications of science and technology. Now, another area in which you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system is health. So some points I have mentioned on the slide. I would like to request someone of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, please read the slide.
So there are different points. First is Ayurveda, a way of complete health. Second is yoga for holistic health and wellness, emotional and intelligence, disease management, diagnostic techniques and surgery, drugs, physical therapy. Next is sleep, food, impact on the body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex. The
Panchakosha.
Panchakosh, a 5-layered existence. Annamay Kosh, Pranmay Kosh, Manomay Kosh, Vigyanmay Kosh, and Anandmay Kosh.
Right. So, I mean, health is such an area in which you will find immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. And the moment I talk about health, I don't say simply physical health, rather complete health, holistic health. And what is a holistic health? In which you are physically, mentally, morally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. So health has various components: physical health, mental health, moral health, emotional health, and spiritual health. And our Indian knowledge system not only talked about physical health, rather it talked about all the other aspects. So Ayurveda, definitely, it's a very complete health. Ayurveda does not talk only about how will you cure someone when he or she will be ill, rather how to prevent that illness. Ayurveda talks about preventoriums as well. And similarly, yoga. So before I am proceeding, I would like to ask one question from you people. I would like to take your opinion on one point. Please listen to me. What do you eat? How do you eat? How much do you eat? How you sleep? When you sleep? And how much do you sleep? Do you think all these matter to your health? My friends, please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How? How, my friends?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, healthy eating is very necessary for our health, and necessary amount of sleep is also equally important to our health.
Of course.
So if
Yeah. And through yoga and meditation, you can focus on some points. For example, why you have come to this universe, why you are born, what's the purpose of your birth, what do you do, with what you have come and with what you will go. I mean, such type of things. Yoga simply don't mean pranayama. I mean, doing exercises. That is one part of yoga. Yoga means when you engrossed in thinking about the purpose of your birth, about why you have been made a human being, what you are contributing to the society, how you can create a better society, I mean, something like that. So Ayurveda and yoga, these are the two important contributions of Indian knowledge system. Then disease management, another very important contribution. Our people, as I mentioned, they used to perform surgery, they used to use herbs and various medicinal plants to cure the people. They knew about drugs, they knew about physical therapy, and they talked about the impact of sleep and food on health. Then body, mind, intellect, consciousness complex, and then panchakosha. So Annamaya Kosha, Pranmaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vigyanmaya Kosha, and Anandmaya Kosha. These are the 5 layers of existence, and all these 5 are very important for a complete personality, for a holistic health. So in a nutshell, health is such an area in which you will find the immense contribution of Indian knowledge system. Now, I'm coming to the last area in which I want to talk about the contribution of Indian knowledge system, that is governance and public administration. So I would like to request any one of you to please read these 5 points which have been mentioned on the slide. My friends, please read the slide.
Do's and don'ts for a king. First is Arthashastra, science of logic and argumentation. Anvik,
Anvixity.
Anvik,
Anvixity.
Vedas, Trai, Economics, Varta and Governance, Danditi. Kautilyan state, Book 6 of Arthashastra mentions 7 elements that make up the state: the king, Swamit, the minister, Amatya, the territory, Ganpada, the fortified capital, Durga, the treasury, Kosha, the army, Danda, and the ally, Mitra. The
Right.
administration setup: king and his cabinet, palace administration, defense, treasury, revenue and law and order, civil administration. The importance of dharma in governance.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, in governance and public administration, again, Indian knowledge system contributed a lot. First, it made a clear list what a king is required to do and what he is not required to do. So, our Indian knowledge system talks a lot about dharma. But don't be confused dharma with the religion, because religion is a very narrow meaning of dharma. Our dharma is based on our karma, our duties. So I am a teacher. What is my teacher dharma? I am a commander of the army. What is my commander dharma? I am a husband. So what is my husband dharma? I am a king. So what is my king dharma? So what is my dharma that is related to my karma, that is related to my responsibilities and duties? And our Indian knowledge system talks a lot about it. If you'll come to Arthashastra, economics, then Kautilya wrote a book that is known as Arthashastra. So it has various parts. So one such part is Anvikshiki, in which Kautilya talked about science of logic and argumentation. Then another part is Vedastrayi, and third part is economics, which is mentioned in that book as Varta. And another part is Dandniti, that is governance. So if you see, this is a masterpiece, in fact. It's a very good book, and it talks so many things which were relevant at that time, and not only relevant to that time, even so much relevance they have in today's time as well. Again, I would like to mention that book of Arthashastra, book 6, Arthashastra's 6th part, that is book 6 of Arthashastra mentions that there are 7 elements which make the state. So element number 1, the king himself, Swami. Then the ministers of the king, which are known as Amatya. Then the territory on which the king is ruling, that is Janpada. Then the fortified capital, that is Durga. Then treasury, that is Kosha. Army, Danda, and allies, that is Mitra. So nowadays, if you talk, there is so much importance of allies. So last year, our country, India, hosted the meeting of G20. So in the form of G20, we find allies. In the form of G7, we try to find allies. In the form of BRICS, we try to find out allies. In the form of SARC, we try to find out the allies, so that we may have more and more business, so that we may improve our economy, so that we may share so many things and intelligence and all those things. So allies has always been important, and these have been mentioned by the Kautilya. So somehow these are the principles which are very important in the field of governance and public administration. They were important at that time, when they had so many relevance at this time as well. And if you see the administrative setup, there were many layers of administration. First layer was related to king and his cabinet. Second layer was related to palace administration. Third layer was related to defense, then treasury, then revenue, then law and order, and finally the last layer was a civil administration. And in governance, again and again I am saying, there was so much importance of dharma, that is karma, or based on our duties. So in a nutshell, these are the contributions of Indian knowledge system. I have talked the contribution of IKS in 6 fields. I started with philosophy, then I talked about contribution of IKS in mathematics, then I talked about contribution of IKS in science and technology, then I talked about contributions of IKS in the field of in the application of science and technology. Then I talked about contribution of IKS in health, as well as last one, the contribution of IKS in governance and public administration. Now the question arises, what's the relevance of IKS? why we are talking about IKS and why we are talking about IKS particularly in this NEP 2020 sensitization and orientation workshop. So definitely IKS has relevance. So this relevance you can find out in 5 points which has been mentioned by me on this slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, please read the slide. My friends, any one of you, please read the slide.
Yes, sir.
This
Yeah, please read.
Knowing and relevance of IKS,
Yeah.
knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge,
Right.
transmitting it to other generations, creating a knowledge society, ensuring a holistic multidisciplinary education, promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge systems.
Right. So in a nutshell, I mean, these are the 5 points through which you can understand the relevance of IKS. So number 1, knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge. So there are so many ancestral knowledge which has so much relevance. So which they are required to be preserved, but they can't be preserved unless and until we know about it. So first know and then preserve. So IKS is relevant in knowing and preserving the ancestral knowledge. Then transmitting it to other generations. So much knowledge has reached to us generation by generation through generations. So our next generation needs to be known about all those things. So this is the second relevance, that the moment we will know about IKS, we will not only know and preserve, rather we will transmit it to the other generation. Then IKS is relevant in creating a knowledge society. So before I proceed, I would like to ask, what is a knowledge society? What do you understand by knowledge society, my friends? My friends, what is a knowledge society? Majumdar sir, Suparna ma'am.
Sorry, sir. I am actually on the way driving, so I am not able to respond, sir.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
After a while, I will be
Okay,
responding.
any other response? My question is, what is a knowledge society? Okay, a knowledge society is that society in which access of knowledge is easy to everyone. Everyone contributes to the field of knowledge, and access of knowledge is accessible to everyone. So definitely, IKS has a lot of relevance in creating a knowledge society. Then ensuring a holistic and multidisciplinary education, IKS is very important. Then promoting inclusive learning by recognizing and validating the diverse knowledge system. So Indian knowledge system is one such system. Similarly, there might be another systems as well. So the moment we will be knowing about our system, we'll be knowing about other systems. So by that way, we'll be promoting inclusive learning. Now, what might be the role of IKS? So there might be 4 important roles of IKS, which I have mentioned on this slide. And I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide. Any one of you, my friends, please read the slide.
Hello.
Yeah, sure.
In providing a sense of identity to the members of the society,
Right.
in shaping the culture of the society, in
Yes.
utilizing received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation,
Very
in
good.
transforming knowledge into economic value.
Very good. Very good. So these might be the role of IKS. So, French have much pride in saying that they have one culture, one knowledge, French culture. Similarly, Americans are feel pride, Japanese, Chinese. Similarly, we Indians also. I mean, there is a common identity, though we are divided under various religions, various communities. So many diversities there in India. But there's one thing that might unite us, and that is the sense of identity. being Indian. So, this IKS definitely has much potential in providing us a sense of identity, and it can make a cohesion among us, among the member of Indian society. So this is one of the important roles of IKS. In shaping the culture of the society, this might be the second role. In utilizing received wisdom to march on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. Now, remember one thing. No knowledge is created in vacuum. So, new knowledge is created on the basis of old knowledge. So you utilize the old knowledge, you add something, you delete something, you modify something, and then you transform something, and finally new knowledge comes. So you want to march ahead on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation, but that will not be possible if you will not respect and if you will neglect the received wisdom that has reached to us through generations. So IKS definitely has the potential that it might bless us to receive that wisdom so that we might march ahead on the highway of innovation and new knowledge creation. Then definitely last role that of IKS that it can play in transforming knowledge into economic value. If you see today's society, knowledge and economy both are heavily related with each other. They are heavily correlated with each other. So if you have a good knowledge system, your economy will be better, or vice versa. If you have a good economy, somehow you will be providing more and more access to the knowledge and all those things. So these two are related. So since knowledge is related to economy, knowledge has economic value. So in the same way, Indian knowledge system also has the economic value. So this might be the fourth role of IKS. Now, I'm coming to the last slide of my presentation, that is advantages of IKS. What are the advantages of IKS? So there might be so many, but for the sake of clarity in my presentation, I have just pointed out 5 points which have been mentioned on this slide. So I would like to request any one of you to please read the slide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Advantages
Please,
of Indian knowledge system. First point is in providing enriched learning experiences to the students.
Yeah.
Next is in promoting cultural understanding, in bridging the gap between the traditional wisdom and modern knowledge.
Right.
In calculating the problem solving ability among the students.
Right.
And in bringing knowledge exchanges with other civilization.
Thank you, my friend. So these are the advantages of IKS. So our students in the classroom, they might be provided with enriched learning experiences through IKS. We might promote cultural understanding. Definitely, we might bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and modern knowledge through IKS, of course. We might inculcate problem-solving ability among the students through IKS. And finally, we might, through the help of IKS, we may bring knowledge exchanges with other civilizations of the world. So in a nutshell, these are the 5 advantages of IKS. So with this, I want to put an end to my lecture. Thank you very much for listening to me. I think it's 5:18 by my watch. So still we have 12 minutes. And these 12 minutes might be utilized. If you have any question, I may answer to your question. Or if you want to share something with me, definitely you can share. So thank you very much, my friends, for listening to me.
Participants, if you have any query or question, you can ask regarding the overview of Indian knowledge system, because this is one of the important component and segment of NEP 2020.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to actually share my opinion a little bit.
Sure.
And also would like to listen from you some suggestions regarding this implementation of Indian knowledge system, which has been proposed in the NEP 2020. So far as my observation, I think it will be very difficult at the present scenario to change the ongoing system and implementing this Indian knowledge system concept. It is obviously a very good concept, But our at present the educational system which is going on, as for example, suppose in our state Assam, already the NEP has been implemented in higher education. In the colleges and universities, NEP has been implemented. But what I think is that it would have been better if it was implemented from the root level, from the primary level. Because at present in Assam, NEP has not been implemented in the primary level or the secondary level till now or till date. Maybe in few years they will be implementing. So your suggestions or views on that, sir?
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Mazumdar, you have asked a very good question. In fact, if you go through the National Education Policy 2020, so it does not start directly from higher education. Rather, it talks about foundational stage, isn't it, Dr. Mazumdar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I don't know what would have been the government's decision to not to implement at elementary level first and implementing it at higher level first. I mean, there might be some administrative issues, but definitely I'm quite sure if it has been implemented on the higher level, it will be implemented on the lower level as well. This is one thing. I mean, NEP is not only for higher education, rather it is for the whole education system. Second one, as you said, what do you teach, Dr. Mazumdar?
Sir, I'm a teacher of botany, sir.
Botany. So, I mean, you might teach physics, you might teach botany, you might teach political science, you might teach history or any subject. So, Indian knowledge system has a contribution in every field, in every subject. So, in the same way as environmental education is a multidisciplinary approach, our value education is a multidisciplinary approach in which every teacher is required to inculcate the values among the students, or every teacher is required to inculcate environmental awareness and ethics among the students. In the same way, this is a multidisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary approach, you can say. All of us, I mean, whatever the subject we teach, somehow we should know about Indian knowledge system and its contribution. So you might be a teacher of botany. So if some good Indians, they have made some contributions in botany, you can share them. So what is the contribution of Indian knowledge system, particularly in botany? What is the Indian knowledge system in history or in philosophy or in physics or something like that? So we can tell it to our students so that they might be aware. Now, Dr. Majumdar, today's generation of a student is quite smart. They are different from us. So we heavily relied on books, we heavily relied on teachers, but today's generation does not heavily rely on teachers and books. I mean, they have so many sources. So your purpose, my purpose should be to sensitize them about Indian knowledge system. If they will be sensitized, if some interest will be developed among them, if they somehow will feel they should know further about this particular area, there are so many sources of knowledge. They will go, they will access, and they will. So our job is just to sensitize them about Indian knowledge system through informal ways. I mean, there might not be any particular period allocated for this or any particular class allocated for this. I mean, through informal ways, we can sensitize our students towards Indian knowledge system. Have you got my point, Dr. Mazumdar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Dr. Sunita has raised hand. Dr. Sunita, do you want to ask anything?
Importance of Indian knowledge system.
Pardon, ma'am. I couldn't listen to you.
Importance of Indian knowledge system.
What is the importance of Indian knowledge system?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think you didn't see my slide. I have discussed in detail relevance, role, and advantages of Indian knowledge system in creating a knowledge society, in providing the opportunities of inclusive learning to our students, in bridging the gap between ancient knowledge and modern knowledge. There might be so many advantages, that has been mentioned by me under the three categories: relevance, role, and advantages of IKS. Right, Dr. Sunita?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Thank
तो
you, sir.
जी जी, मैं स्लाइड जो है वो मेरी स्लाइड इन लोग के पास है, तो दे विल शेयर इट विथ यू. So I think the moment you will go through it, you will be knowing further about that. You will be knowing more about it. Right, Dr. Sunita?
Thank you, sir. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question? Still we have 5 minutes.
Sir, you are famous in our HRDC for abiding the time. That is dot point.
In fact,
Thank you very much, sir. I think participants have got each and every aspect as far as overview of IKS is concerned. And I hope that whatever the doubts Abdul Fazal Saab has asked, Sunita ma'am asked, and participant, I already told you, you will find the link from Mazhar Saab, our HRDC. He will provide you link for all the recordings of the lectures and PPTs. So don't worry about that. Each and everything you will be provided at the end day. I will the last day of this program. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
very
Thank
nice
you
lecture,
for
sir.
being with us, and thank you on behalf of HRDC AMU Aligarh.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. So now, should I exit?
Sure, sir. Sure, you can.
Okay.
You may.
Thank you.
You may
Thank you,
exit.
ma'am. Thank you.
Participants, we will meet at 6 o'clock, perhaps with the same link you have been given on your WhatsApp group. So join as soon as possible. We have a very prominent speaker in the next session. Thank you very much.